Alright, hi.
Zo,
Oh,
hallo iedereen.
hallo iedereen. Hoi. Hoe is ie? Dan komen we later op. Welcome to the second class of the ESN Dutch Language Beginners course. So glad to see you all here again. Yes, let me go back here. Let me turn this off. I think that works. So, what we'll do today. First, we will discuss the homework, of course, which I hope you all did. We'll go through the word of the week. It's a real thrilling one this time. We'll discuss numbers, how to say numbers. Very fun. The conjugations of zijn and hebben, very useful verbs. Then we'll have a little break. Then we'll go on how to say the names of family members, etc., and friends. With the sentence of the week and then the quiz, and they're already done. Wow. In between, there will be exercises for you to do, and we'll have a grand old time, hopefully. But first, let us go. This is this button. To hoe gaat het? This is usually something we do at the beginning, asking you how you're doing. You can't really answer, but these are useful words to know. So usually when someone asks you, hoe gaat het? You say, het gaat goed. Of goed. Prima. But if you're feeling a little bit more honest that day and you're stressed, you could say, het gaat niet zo goed. Ik heb het een beetje druk. Dus niet here is not, and zo means so not so good. Sure, you could have figured it out by yourself, but good to know. And then finally you could feel miserable. Het gaat slecht. Slecht
Beautiful
meaning
Dutch
bad.
word.
Yes, slecht. It just doesn't. It just sounds bad. Yes, useful vocabulary. But then, let us go to the homework. Marlene, do you want to do this?
Yeah, of course. Like in your student manual, you have this exercise, and we thought it would be helpful to compare the sounds of English words, because most of you know the English words, with the Dutch words. So we kindly ask you to fill in the English words which have vowel sound as the Dutch ones. So the first one is, in Dutch we pronounce it as vis. So it compares with the sound of mis. Maybe Thomas, you can do the slides, like you can pop them up. Yeah.
Yes.
And the translation of it is fish. Vis means fish in Dutch. Also the same vowel sound, so that's fun. Then we have the word rook, and the English vowel sound you can recognize, kook. It's the same sound. And rook in Dutch is smoke, is the translation. Then we have the word koe. And in English, you have the word you all know is you, like in you, and it has the same sound. And koe means cow in Dutch. Then we have the word week. In Dutch we say week. Confusing this. So we say week. And in English it has the sound in the word bake. Week, bake. And week means, of course, week in Dutch. Then we have the word gek in Dutch. A same vowel sound in English is back, like gek and back. And gek means weird or crazy in Dutch. Thomas, are you still clicking on those slides or not? Oh yeah.
Yes,
I
definitely.
can see them now.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be helpful. Then we have the word cow. And in English you can hear that in the word how. kou hou. And kou means the cold in the Netherlands. So kou is the cold, yeah. Strange word. Then we have the Dutch word klok. And same as in the English dok, clock, dok. And clock means, of course, clock. So also the same sound as in the English translation. Then we have the word ziek. In English, you can hear that in the word freak, ziek, freak. And the translation of ziek is sick. So hopefully you're all not sick and you don't have COVID. So dan ben je niet ziek. So that was the first exercise. Are there any questions about that? Or did you find it very easy to match it? You can just raise your hand. Or do you have... Oh, yeah, I see a hand of Samantha. Feel free to speak.
Sorry, my microphone. How do you say in Dutch, I am cold instead of the cold?
Yeah, that's slightly different. Then you say, ik heb. That's what we're going to learn later today. Ik heb het koud. So I have it cold. So you don't say kou, but koud. Ik heb het koud.
Yeah, and you probably also wouldn't say, I mean, you could maybe say ik ben koud, I am cold, literally. But that would really refer to like your body temperature being low. It's like, oh, maybe if you're, ik ben koud, I really need to sit in a hot bath, otherwise I'll die of hypothermia, maybe.
So we normally say, ik heb het koud.
Yes.
I have it cold. A little bit crazy.
Would be weird.
So, was there actually another exercise, I guess, right? Maybe.
Yes.
Thomas, you can do that one?
Yes. I can't really point to people, but I'll just go through it as well. It is labeled as exercise 4 here, it shouldn't be, but I'm sure you will know this. So here the exercise was to circle the word, or whatever means of emphasis you prefer, that contains the same vowel sound as the provided word. So for the first one, it's pronounced vaak. So I'm really trying to do the V, but that's not what you normally do. Do vaak. And then we have, well, if I say it, then it's very obvious. Tak, zaken, or pakken. And it's obviously the second one, right? Vaak, zaken. For the second one, it's pronounced as zee, and the other ones are pronounced as preken, hekken, and de. And so it would be preken. Preken, zee, e. For ik, you have prikken, zien, and visum. So it will be prikken. Ik, prik. So this means I. This means to
Stab.
Yes, stab. But more like poke. Pokey stab.
Poke, yeah. Better.
To see, and this is a visa, singular. Let me go through them all. So vaak means often. Tak means a branch. Zaken means
Cases.
cases, yes. Pakken means to grab. Zee means sea, as in the sea. Preken means to preach. Hekken are
Fences or
fences, and de means the, which we'll get to next lesson. All the variants of that. All right, then we're there again at de. So here it's a sneaky one. I pulled a sneaky on you because it's all of them. So it's hebben, that's the weken, that's the and gered, that's also the So the E is kind of a, maybe not a special case, but it's often, if it's in an unemphasized part of the sentence, word, an emphasized syllable, it becomes a. And if it's emphasized, it becomes either e or a. So hebben, weken, gered. All these things with ge or be at the front will always be like this. because maybe some of you thought this would be pronounced as gered, because we did teach you that rule that if it's a vowel, then a consonant, and then a vowel, it's like long or stressed or open or whatever words are used to describe that. As will happen a lot in Dutch, often there's an exception somewhere. Namely, this ge is, for instance, one of those cases where it doesn't hold up. I'll try to avoid as many exceptions as I can during the course, but it's inevitable because Dutch is like a patchwork of fixes over time.
So
Because
remember, if the word... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, yeah. So because we do have spelling reforms in Dutch, unlike in English, where there haven't been a lot of spelling reforms. So in English, there's not really a consistent pronunciation often of a word of different parts, and in Dutch there is. The cost of all those spelling reforms to make it more consistent is that some things don't get reformed enough, I guess.
Yeah, but remember, if the word starts with G and E, it normally pronounced as ge. So yeah, that's just the general rule for now, but it's way more complicated. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, but you'll get it. Then we'll go to oom. We have bonen, boom, and bommen, which would be bonen and boom, the O sound, obviously. And this means uncle, which we'll get to later. This is beans, this is tree, and this is bombs. So the next one, duur, huren, plukken, u. So these two. This is expensive, this is to rent, this is to pluck, I guess. And this is the formal form of you, which we'll also get to. Whoop, no, spoiled it. Kwam, is it Mario, ga, or tak? Oh, it's tak, because the other ones are like the tense version. It's a instead of a. And finally, vriend, stil, hikken of ski. Ski, clearly. Vriend means friend, stil means quiet, hikken means to hiccup, and ski means ski. Not very complicated, that one. Now, final thing before we move on to the word of the week, a plug for, maybe you've seen it in general chat. I made an app for that you on a website that you can go to practice these vowel differences. If you find those hard, or if you want to have more practice, you can select vowel combinations, and then you'll hear words that are very similar, but they differ in the vowel, and then you have to say which one is the correct one. I plan on expanding it, but for now, it's this. If you find it useful, I put a link in the general channel somewhere.
Cool, I didn't know that. So word of the week then.
Yes, the word of the week.
It's super exciting. It's ouwe hoeren. Can you pronounce it? Ouwe hoeren. Okay, you're probably thinking like, what the fuck is this? And of course, it's a difficult word because first you have the O and the U, which is pronounced as au, as we learned last week. And then we have the O and the I, is pronounced as u. So ouwe hoeren. And literally, this means old prostitutes. That's like the translation of it in English. So now you're probably thinking like, am I still getting it? Yeah, you're still getting it. And it basically means, it's a very informal way of saying that someone is talking endlessly about something very unimportant. So as you can see in the picture, usually is interpreted as a little bit negative. So someone maybe drunk is explaining a lot of uninteresting things to you, and as you can see on the picture, the guy doesn't like it. And so someone is aan het is to ouwe hoeren, so he's talking like shit. But you can also have it like just an informal. It can also be a little bit positive. Like if you're talking with your friends about unimportant stuff, and you're just talking for fun and it's not important, you can say, "Oh, we zijn aan het ouwe hoeren." So we are doing this. So it's very informal. And yeah, it's a strange word, but if you hear it, it's like, okay, someone is talking endlessly about something very unimportant. So, but it's a fun word, I guess. Thomas, you have something to add about it?
No,
Or-
that's
I saw a question from someone, maybe 2 people. I can imagine that this is giving some questions. Who has raised their hand? I see Alfonso and Katerina. Want to add something?
I just want to ask two things. The first one is if you can pronounce the word a little bit more, just to get the sound. And the second one, is it an adjective or it can also be a verb?
It is a verb, actually. So you can
Oh.
say, ik
Okay.
ouwe hoer. Hij ouwe hoert. We're gonna talk about those ik and hij later. So you can say it. But yeah, it's yeah, and ouwe hoeren, to pronounce it again.
ouwe hoeren.
Thank you.
Yeah, my question is related to the pronunciation. How do you, shouldn't we pronounce the W as a V? Shouldn't it be auwe hoeren or something?
Yeah, very.
Or
very
is there a rule for when
it's
something?
if the W, so yeah, the rule is that the W at the end of a syllable is pronounced as the W in English, like a w, and it's often, like almost often, if it's after like a U.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe you can just remember that if it's after a U, it's like a W. Wow, look at this.
Yeah,
like an
okay.
English one. So it's ouwe hoeren, not ouwe hoeren. Indeed, very yeah, well noticed.
Okay, thanks.
Good question, though.
Right. I cannot see the questions at the moment, so you, Marlena, if you could point them out, that would be great.
Oh, there is a message in the chat, but no, that's just you. So I think we can move on then.
All right. Let's move on to numbers. I always find that as a fun part in learning a language, learning how to count. So of course, Dutch, like many languages, has numbers. I'm sure you'll be shocked. And in teaching this course, this is I think the 5th time, I still haven't found a super interesting way of telling you what all the numbers are over just reading out the numbers and having you repeat after me. So what I will do is read out the numbers. I assume you know what the numeric values of the numbers mean in English or whatever your language is. And so I will say the number, and you will, in your house, repeat after me, so you can get kind of a mouth feel for the sound. Okay? So let's go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Woo! So yeah.
So it would be helpful to look in your student menu as well, because there's a overview of this.
Indeed. So next.
Oh, and maybe something to shortly put out, if you can go back one slide. Yeah, as you can see, like when you go from 11 to 20, 11 and 12 are very strange words. They don't really make sense. Then you can see all the words have 10. And then 13 and 14 still doesn't make any sense. And then you can see from 15 to 20, from 15 to 90, that it does make a little bit sense, because you just take the how do you say it, like 5 from the other row, and then put afterwards 10. So from 15 to 19, it does make sense. So I found that very helpful.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Only at 13 and 14, just like in English at 13, I guess, the thir is kind of weird. The der here as well. And the veer, we don't say 14 for some reason, but 14. Then the rest of the numbers. Ignore the thing at the top for the moment. Let's first go to the things on the left, just multiples of 10. Good to know. In general, these are just the name of the number plus tig, T-I-G. Notice that this is also kind of an unemphasized syllable. So it's not tig, as you might think, but it's tug. You could say tig, and it wouldn't be that weird, but tug is even better. So
we're just lazy people.
Yeah, 20 we already saw. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then, don't get thrown off, 80, not 80, 90, and 100, meaning 100. Not very weird. At the numbers in between, things get a bit weirder. So in English, how you pronounce the name of the number makes sense. You say, if you have 22, you say 22. 20, then 2, the bigger than the smaller. And that just keeps on going. So if you have 1,000,000, you say 1,022. You don't, In Dutch, for some reason, numbers larger than 20 and lower than 19, we don't say 22, but we say 1 and 20, 2 and 20. So not 21, not 21, but 21. Not 32, but 32. Not 43, but 43, etc., etc. But then at 100, we start making sense again and put 100 first. So we don't say 3 and 20 and 100. Luckily, thank God, we say 100, 3 and 20. 123. Yeah. Might take some getting used to. I mean, I read too much English that even I get mixed up. If someone says 76 to me, the first thing I think about is 67, because that's in English you say first 6 and then 7. That's 67. But in Dutch, that is 76. It throws me off quite a bit. So I can imagine if it throws you off. One more thing of note before eventual questions. If you notice, you see this umlaut over the E, which I've also underlined for extra emphasis. What this means in Dutch, this trema, what we call it, this umlaut, diaresis, I think is the English word, just means that this is the start of a new syllable. Because you see here, with 32, we have 3 E's next to each other. If we would have leave out those dots, then we just have 3 E's. And the Dutch get all confused. It's like, oh no, is it 32 or is it 32? I need some guidance. And luckily, there is these 2 little dots that will guide your way to the correct pronunciation. So if you see that, don't be scared. It's just, imagine it being a line that just says, new syllable, warning. And the same is here. With 3, this then makes 1 sound, and this makes 1 sound. If it wasn't here, then this could make a sound on its own, and this could make a sound together. We like to be clear with the pronunciation, in most cases. Any questions about pronunciation?
Yeah, if you can please tell us again, how do you pronounce the last part of the decimals? So for example, 20, 30, 40, etc.
Would you like me to repeat them all?
No, just you said something about the TIG part.
Oh, yes.
That thing, yeah.
Yeah, so how you do the TIG is pronounced usually by most people as tug instead of tig. The 20 instead of 20. That is it. But if you say 20, it's not per se wrong. It's more that if you hear it, maybe if you hear the difference, maybe you don't, then you know why. It's unemphasized.
So, and hopefully now the title makes sense of the slide. So 1 until 9, then N, and then, for example, 20. So maybe that formula makes sense right now to you.
Yeah. This means multiple of 10, tiental. It's a shame that there's not a good word for that in English. But
no, I was thinking of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the left row are tientallen in Dutch.
Well then, if no questions, oh wait, and maybe you could do this.
This slide, yeah. So if we're talking about years and ordinal numbers, let's first focus on years. If you think it's difficult, there's also a part of this in your student manual. So if we're talking about, for example, the year 1996, we first say 19 and then we say 96. So in long, 1996. So as you can see, a very long word here. Now we're in 2020 and we pronounce that differently. So after 2000, we say it different. We say 2000, so 2000, 2020, like 20. So it makes a little bit more sense. 2020 is the year we're now in.
Yeah, because you can't say, oh, it is 2020 in Dutch, like you can say in English.
Yeah, that's a little bit strange. But if you say it, you will know what you mean. Yeah, the ordinal numbers. Oh, yeah. Of course, if you want to talk about order, the numbers between 20 and hundreds ends with STE. So let's use the word 20. 20ste. Or 31ste. Or even honderdste, sorry. Then we have numbers ending on 1 until 90. And they get DE. So, for example, tweede, 15e, then 206e. So 206. There are some exceptions, as Thomas already said. There are a lot of exceptions in Dutch. So numbers ending on 1 always get ste. Ending on 3 always get de. And ending on 8 always get st. I'm not even sure why that is, so sorry I can answer on that one. But I saw a question. Please take the floor.
Yes, hi. I was just wondering if you could repeat what you explained in the very first bullet point with 1996.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So we basically split up this number. So as you can see on the first bullet point, you see 19 and you see 96. Get confused myself. 96. Then we split it up. We first say 19. So in Dutch it's 19. And then we pronounce 96, which is 96. So maybe if we go slides and one back.
Even more?
Yeah, you see like 19 is 19 and 1/4. And you see, like, then you have to pronounce 96, which is 6 en 90. So that's, in total, we say 19, 96, the very long word you can see on this slide.
Yeah. Note that it says it can be pronounced. You can also pronounce these numbers just as you would do past 2000. So you can also say 1996, so 1996. But you can't say like 1996. I mean, like, I guess you can say that. It just sounds really weird. Yes.
So that's just when you talk about years, of course.
Only years. Otherwise, you can just say that if you have 1,996 grains of rice in your bowl and you counted them all very meticulously, then you can, of course, say it like that. Be proud of it. All right. Then, if you've got a good grasp of this, let's do some quick maths. Again, it's hard for me to see people, so maybe Marlene, you could point to people and ask them to do the exercise. And then
yeah, of course. Just raise your hand if you see like one of the solutions to the math questions.
Yeah, maybe the first one first.
The first one.
Plus 14, plus meaning plus, obviously. 22 plus 14 is... And try to pronounce it in Dutch, of course.
And if you feel shy, you can also put it in the chat. I will pronounce it for you.
So is it 36?
Yeah, zeker. Very good, yeah.
Right, the next one.
36.
7 and it means 36, of course, for those in the...
Yeah.
So 22 plus 14 is 36. So 7 keer 9 is... Keer meaning times. So 7 times 9.
Is this 70 en 2?
No, unfortunately.
9, isn't that 8?
9 is
oh
9.
no, 9.
Oh.
So 9 times 7.
It could be 3 en 60.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Very good, 63.
Yes.
Feels like going back to the basic school.
Yeah. And then, you get long words now. 99 gedeeld door 11 is... Gedeeld door means divided by.
I see a hand from Eric.
Yeah, is it 9? 9?
Yeah, heel goed. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally 117 min 80 is... Min meaning minus. 117 minus 80.
I had difficulties answering this myself, just because I'm terrible at math. But I know the answer.
That's the more that's the additional factor, is doing the math. Anyone? I literally cannot see you if someone raised their hand. But
Oh, sorry. I see Friedrich.
Wait, is it 37?
yes.
Yes.
Very good. So 117 minus 80 is 37. Nice. We'll, at the end in the quiz, more You get to do even more math. So stay tuned.
Oh, beautiful.
Are there any more questions about the numbers? I guess it's sort of straightforward. It's mostly just hearing them and using them a lot, and then you just know them. Practicing them on your own is also highly recommended, but I cannot practice them for you, obviously.
I propose that I just type down the numbers. If you go back to that slide once again, I will put it in the chat, like the answers, just in number language. Just one moment. Maybe that will be helpful. Is 9, and then the last one is 117 minus is 37. Okay, go on.
Cool. All right. Then your first verbs. The first verb you will learn is hebben. So repeat after me. I cannot hear you, but whatever. Hebben. Ah, you did a great job. So hebben means to have, and to have is obviously a verb that you use a lot in like any language, especially Dutch, because we also like to use the present perfect a lot, which we won't cover in this course. Go to the advanced course for more information. But still, it's a very useful verb. And the conjugation here is on the right, and in English on the left, which I will just go through kind of quickly. So the infinitive is hebben. And then for I, which is ik, it is heb. And for you, in Dutch jij of u, the distinction between we will get back to later, it is hebt. That's thing in parentheses, I will come back to in a bit. And for he, she, it is hij, zij, het, heeft, heeft. And then the rest is kind of easy. For we, you, and they, which is wij, jullie, en zij, it is hebben, just the infinitive again. We won't get into super much details about how to conjugate verbs. This is one of the 7 irregular verbs in the present simple in Dutch. Next lesson, we'll go over how to conjugate any other verb in the present simple. So look forward to that. For now, one important thing to note is here, in the question form, for jij, the verb loses the T. So instead of, for normal questions, you just in and the thing, we'll get to that later, the subject and the verb, get to that in the 4th lesson. But for now, it's useful to know, for a question with jij, you don't have a T. So it isn't hebt jij, but it is heb jij. Here's a specific example. Excuse me. Do you have some time in English? In Dutch, you say heb je even tijd. It wouldn't be hebt je even tijd. Also, maybe some astute among you have noticed it says je, not jij. Again, the difference we'll get back to in a bit after the break. But for now, question, no T for you.
And from Afonso?
Yes, do we pronounce the N at the end of the word?
Great question.
Because in hebben, I don't know which one, you pronounce, but now in heb je even tijd, you don't pronounce it. So is there a rule or?
So in general, if it ends on en, most Dutch speakers will kind of muffle away the n. Very few will not pronounce it at all. So I'm like kind of in the middle, I would say. Like if I really enunciate, then I would say hebben with the n at the end. And the other extreme is if you're really, I don't know what the word is. It sounds not
posh.
Not posh. You would say hebben. Sorry, hebben. Hebben.
Okay.
More informal the language, the less likely you would do the n. So here heb je even tijd. sounds kind of informal. Heb je even tijd? That's more likely to muffle away the N. But if you want to be sure, you can just always plant the N.
Yeah, right now we're trying to teach you proper Dutch. So we say wij hebben. And normally I will just say wij hebben.
Yeah.
So maybe you can notice the difference there.
Yeah, very well noticed. Then,
so next irregular verb then?
Yes.
Or any other questions?
I'll just go over these few examples a bit more. She has too many books. In Dutch would be zij heeft te veel boeken. Zij heeft te veel boeken. And cats have a pretty chill life would be katten hebben een chill leven. That word we just stole from English. All right. Then if there's no more questions, maybe you will do the honors for zijn, Marlene.
Yeah, I don't see hands raised, so I assume you'll get it. Don't worry if you don't get it.
It's just one verb.
Yeah, just one verb. Then we have the verb to be. In Dutch, the verb is zijn. So again, zijn, last week. I am means ik ben. You are is jij bent, with a T. And again, here, if you want to ask a question, you say ben jij, so are you. Third person is he, she, it is. We say hij, zij, het is. Then we are is wij zijn. You, in the plural form, you are, jullie zijn. So here you see you in English is just one word for plural also. And we have another word. We have you in... hoe zeg je enkelvoud in het Engels, Thomas?
Singular.
Singular, thanks. So you in singular form is jij. And you in plural form is jullie. Then the last one, they are, is zij zijn. So we have some examples here. I'm so tired. Ik ben zo moe. We're friends now. Wij zijn nu vrienden. And what is being even? Wat is zijn überhaupt? That's a beautiful example. I see a hand raised. I'm not sure who it is, but talk.
It's me. I'm sorry again. But
no problem.
I didn't understand the difference between je, u in the second form of the singular, and between wij, we, het, zij, ze, and the first and third person in the plural.
So regarding your first question, of course you can see jij and u. Basically the answer is jij is a formal way to say you in singular form, and u is a very formal way that you can say to your grandma, for example, or a high-ranked old professor. You say u. And yeah, that's the difference. And your second question was regarding wij, jullie, zij? What was the question again?
No, regarding the same, I was wondering if it was the same for the first and third person in the plural.
There is no formal form in the plural. There's only so in there are some more thingies, and we'll get to that in a bit when we'll go to more in depth on the pronouns. But for now, it's just about the verbs first. We'll answer your questions.
Okay,
and of course, if you talk to a bunch of old people, you can just say jullie. Don't worry.
Yes, indeed. There's no formal plural for the second person, which is nice, I guess. Makes it easy. All right.
Any other questions or move on?
Then there is a break. Wow. So let's have.
You actually know what cookies that are, I believe.
I hope you do.
You do, right? Those are
Stroopwafels?
stroopwafels. Yeah, of course. Very
Yes.
good.
Very good. All right, so after the break, the plan is we'll go through this diagram you have here. We'll go through that kind of quickly. I think I'll fill it out, and then we can just go through it. And then there's an exercise where you can practice your newly acquired hebben en zijn skills. And then, oh no, before that, we'll go into a bit more depth about the pronouns. And then you'll do the exercise. And then there's an exercise where you can practice, like talking to people. Also fun. And then we'll have a quiz.
So a lot of things to do.
A lot of
When
things to
should
do.
the people come back?
Yeah, please at 7, because
We need
a bit
your
of time to
time.
set up. So let's break. Hope that's okay. And I'll
Okay.
see you then.
We're back. Oh, beautiful, yeah. But we're not there yet, right?
No, we're gonna do so. I think.
So we're gonna start with the family then? Sorry, I'm a little bit confused.
Yes, we're gonna.
Oh.
That's the next exercise.
So as you can see, guys, are you all back? I believe yes, right? I see beautiful people in the bench. Yes. A lot of people. So we promised you to talk about family. And in your student manual, you can see and we quickly put it into the PowerPoint as well, so I can talk about it with you guys. In this diagram, I believe sorry, Thomas, is like ik. Is that then the vrouw? Are you here, Thomas, or not?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, okay. So
very gendered one.
Okay, yeah.
Circle is
So
girl, square is
it is
boy.
central that you are a woman here. So the dark blue circle. And if you are a woman, and you can have a man or not. And so the I is ik. So I am a woman, so it makes sense to me. And then if I have a man, it's in Dutch my mom. Or if I'm not married, I can say it's my friend, it's mijn vriend. So, and myself then, if I'm married, I am a wife, een vrouw. Or een vriendin, if I'm not married. So in this case, I have a big family. I have a brother. In Dutch, it's called broer. I have a sister. In Dutch, zus. And my sister is married. So I call her husband my schoonbroer. Kind of crazy. Literally it means a clean brother. I'm not sure why. They have children, and I call them my nichtje en neefje. Nichtje is a little girl, and neefje is a little boy. I believe this is quite different from English, but yeah, we'll get into that later. So they are a generation under me. Then myself, with my husband, I have kids as well. So I have a daughter, which is dochter. I have a son, which is zoon. And yeah, of course, I have parents. You can see on top, father is vader and mother is moeder. Then my father has sisters, I believe. Yeah, my father got a sister and a brother. So his sister is tante. She's not married, I guess. No. And then my father has a brother, which means oom in Dutch. He again is married, and that's also a tante. So might be confusing. You have a tante which is really family to you, and you have a tante which is not family to you, like not direct family. and they have children, and you also call them neef and nicht. But actually they are from the same generation. So I think that's where English makes a difference. And of course, at the end, you have opa and oma, and that is grandpa and grandma. So yeah, any confusions about this? Any questions?
Yeah, maybe two
Samantha?
things I would add.
Yeah,
By
yeah.
the way, indeed, in Dutch we don't really distinguish between cousins and nieces and nephews. So they're
yeah,
all
that was the
neefjes
thing.
and nichtjes, or neven and nichten. The only difference between someone is a neef or neefje is whether they are older or younger than you, not whether they are in a different generation than you. And the other thing is that maybe you've noticed, Dutch doesn't have a word for brothers and sisters, or brothers or sisters, like siblings. And it also doesn't have a word for like cousins in general. So it's only neven and nichten and broers and zussen. We don't have. Dutch is very big on gender neutral words, fortunately.
Yeah. And Samantha, you had a question?
Yeah, I think Thomas more or less already answered it. So, nichtje and nichtje is like when they're a generation younger, and then if they're not, they are neef and nicht.
Actually, what Thomas said, yeah, I kind of didn't really make a mistake, but how do you say it? You know, if you have like neef and nicht, you see that on the left in the same generation as you. But the confusing thing is here that you can also call them neefje and nichtje if they're younger than you. So yeah. In the lower generation, you see neefje and nichtje, of course, because they're younger than you. They're a generation under you. But if you're talking about the same generation, you can also say neefje if he is younger than you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a difficulty in Dutch.
Yeah, so it doesn't have anything.
You somehow get it?
It doesn't have anything to do with generation or something. It just has to do with relative age. So if they're just older, it's neef. If they're younger, nichtje. Kind of simple, I guess, but there's also you lose some nuance. All right, any more questions?
Pretty good point about the gender neutral words we don't have.
Yeah. No?
I see a hand. Yeah, I see a hand. Katarina, and yeah.
So like, how do I say if I'm like the grandpa and I need to call my, I think in English will be like nephew and niece, but I'm not sure. Like from a grandpa perspective, how do I call them?
So like your grandchildren or not?
Yeah, like how a grandpa called his grandchildren in Dutch.
Kleinkinderen.
Yeah.
Literally little children.
Yeah, kleinkind is ook kleinzoon of kleindochter of kleinkind.
Good question though. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we can move on.
Mm-hmm. There's of course a lot of different other words that people use, like or that in general, like je vader and je moeder together, they're your ouders, your parents. I can't remember if you mentioned those, but other groupings, your grandpa and grandma are your grootouders, your grandparents. And yeah, I guess those are the groupings. That's not very big on groupings, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes? All right. Now we'll move on to one of my pet subjects, voornaamwoorden, pronouns. They're already talking about this a bit. So we will cover 3 different kinds of pronouns. Just the subject pronouns, words you use in the place of the subject of a sentence. Object pronouns, words you use in the place of an object of a sentence or other places. And possessive pronouns, how you indicate possession. So first, subject pronouns. Those are the most easy ones. Once you also know them from English. I, you, he, she, it. we, you, and they. In Dutch, those are ik, jij of je, u, hij, zij en het, wij en we, or we, not en we, jullie en zij, or ze. I actually didn't add that here, but that's also in your booklet. So those are just the names of the words, the pronouns. And there's a few caveats to all of them. So the first one we already talked about, the jij versus u distinction. So jij, jij is the informal, just the casual way of saying you, and u is the formal way of saying you. Now it doesn't tell you in which situation to use it, and that's varies a bit per region, person, age, whatever. In general, people use it for people they maybe don't know very well and are in some way in a higher position, either age or maybe they're in a respected professor or something, or they're the king. There you would use, in general, u. In most other cases, you would use jij. I'm not a big fan of this distinction. I think it just makes things complicated. I'd rather just everyone say jij all the time, but alas.
Sometimes you have like old people that say, "Oh, just say jij," and then you're like, "Okay, I try to be polite, but yeah."
Yeah, in general, people are pretty chill with it. There's some people that can kind of get stuck up and are offended if you say jij instead of u, but those are way fewer than I think was in the past.
And actually, last week I got a question. I'm not sure from who anymore, but the difference between jij and je. It's also I'm not sure how to explain it correctly, but sometimes jij it refers to one person to one specific person, and je is. Yeah, I'm not sure. Thomas, do you know how to get those
more general,
two apart?
It's less specific.
Yeah.
So jij, if you say, for example, here the example here is a bit maybe too complicated, but whatever. Jij hebt van die vrienden, or je hebt van die vrienden. So here, if I would say, jij hebt van die vrienden that are like annoying or something, you have those friends that are, you have those kinds of friends that are annoying. If I say jij, then I'm meaning the person who's talking to you. Then I'm talking about their annoying friends. If I say, oh, je hebt van die vrienden die altijd die dingen doen. You have those friends that always do those kinds of things. I'm not really talking about someone in specific. I'm talking about Marlene's annoying friends. I'm just talking about the platonic concept of annoying friends.
Yeah, that was exactly the point I was going to make. And jij can also be sometimes conceived as a little bit, yeah.
It's also a little bit more informal, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people in some situations you cannot say jij, but it's maybe too hard to.
Yeah, there's indeed some
right now.
situations where you can't do that, but it's complicated, but you'll get it.
If you want to be safe, say je.
I think someone raised a hand and then put it down again, so maybe
Sarah?
Yes. So can you always say je and not jij, so to just be sure to avoid any difficulties, or is it weird if you always say je?
It's not weird, I guess, if you always say je.
Yeah, I think it's not weird if you always say je. I can't really think off the top of my head a situation where that would be incorrect. I think there's also very few situations where you would be like incorrect if you said jij. Je would be like the more common usage of it, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say jij. Yeah. So a similar distinction is with wij and we. So wij is more specific than we. So for example, wij hebben de loterij gewonnen. We won the lottery. Then that sounds more like you are. If you say that's someone, if I come up to Marlene, and I would say, "We hebben de loterij gewonnen," then Marlene would be pretty sure. Oh shit, we won the lottery. She would also be included in that, right? If I would say, "Oh, wij hebben de loterij gewonnen," it sounds more like I won the lottery with a group that does not include Marlene. So it's more specific. And maybe more exclusive. This is not very formal, defined, and it's a bit weird to use. And most of the time, it's just a matter of emphasis in the sentence. So instead of saying, "Oh yeah, we went camping last night," wij gingen kamperen, you could say, "We gingen kamperen," and it would mean kind of the same thing. It would just be less emphasis on the subject and more on something else in the sentence. Similar for zij and ze, it's just a little less emphasized. And all these specific little things are things you will pick up later that we don't get into. Yes. So I hope there's not questions because there's many more pronouns to get through. So
Yeah.
let's go through the persoonlijk voornaamwoorden, the personal pronouns for object ones. Maybe you want to do these, Marlene?
Yeah, of course. If you want to talk about the object in the sentence, so not the subject, what we talked about in the previous slide, you can use these words. You also have them in English, of course. Then you have me, you or you, him, her, it, us, you, and them. And we want to give you some examples of this. If you want to say, he heard me, you say, hij hoorde mij. So, mij. If you want to say, she fancies you, so then you is the object, you say, zij vindt je leuk. Or, zij vindt jou leuk. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
same situation here. And then we have the formal version. So, can I help you? Kan ik u helpen? So it doesn't change a lot here. I don't see him. Then you say, ik zie hem niet. So hem. Then we go to her. That's we gaan naar haar toe. The next one is, did you hear it? And then we say in Dutch, hebben jullie het gehoord? Then the plural forms, they teach us Dutch. So that's something you can say. Zij leren ons, so us is ons, Nederlands, Dutch.
Yeah. Well, you can maybe see here the word for teaching in Dutch is the same as the word for learning. And so you can hear a lot of Dutch people say, "Oh, I learn you something something," which sounds awful in English, but it makes sense in Dutch.
Yeah,
so if
definitely.
I heard someone say that, that's the reason.
And then it takes you guys a lot of effort, I can imagine, learning Dutch. Then we say, het kost jullie veel moeite. The last one, they listen to them, means zij luisterden naar hen. Don't say hun, say hen.
Yeah.
But that's way too advanced, but hen. Remember.
A lot of Dutch
yeah, a lot of Dutch people do that wrong. Any questions? I believe yes. We don't have a lot of time, but maybe a quick question. I see one hand raised. Sarah, you still have a question? No.
Okay.
Okay, we can move on then.
Cool. Then I'll move on to this and I'll speed round. So the possessive pronouns in Dutch are in order of my, your informal, your formal, his, her, its, our, your, their. They are mijn, jou or je, uw, zijn, haar, en er. There isn't really a possessive version of het in Dutch, but we cheat it by using er. don't worry about it. And if you are very interested in it, again, you're very welcome to join the advanced course next semester, and we'll teach you all about this word there. Ons or onze. Here the difference is not between formal or informal, specific or inspecific, but between if it's before a de or an het word. Other way around, het or de word.
Oh, yeah.
The difference between that we'll get into in the next lessons. For jullie, it is again jullie. Wow, such an easy one. And for there, it's hun. So it's kind of straightforward. You just put it in front of the noun that you want to make possessive. Like, ik heb mijn vriend lang niet gezien. I haven't seen my friend or my boyfriend in a while. Also, a fun thing in Dutch, there's no separate word for friend or boyfriend, which always leads to awkward introductions where you say, oh yeah, this is my friend, or this is my, dit is mijn vriend, or dit is mijn vriendin. I always say, oh, but so you guys are dating? And I said, no, we're just friends. That's
like,
a word we could use.
Vriend, or
yeah. Also, if you might have noticed, there is no gender-neutral pronoun in Dutch, which really sucks. I think it's really we should have one. Some people do use hun as a gender-neutral pronoun, but it doesn't have the same general adoption as they has in English. Yeah, other fun things. The word haar can mean a lot of different things. So, ik hoorde haar kammen means I heard her comb her hair. And here, this haar, it means her. And this haar means also her, but this haar means hair. And here, zijn, his, zijn seinen, zijn fijn. So, zijn is both a pronoun and a verb. Which usually doesn't lead to problems. Not like haar. Because people often refer to women's hair, I guess. So haar is something you would see often. And here you can see a usage of the different versions of our. So onze bruiloft was in ons huis. Our wedding was in our home. The onze is bruiloft is a de word, so you have an e here. And huis is a het word, so you don't have an e. In the 5th lesson, I think we'll go into what the hell that is about.
Don't worry.
All right. As we are low on time, I propose.
I don't see hands raised, so.
Yeah. If there are no questions, I propose we will jump straight into the quiz. I'm sorry that we skipped the exercises. One of the exercises will be homework for next week. I will repeat that at the end. But for now, so you have this exercise 2, where you have to fill in zijn and hebben, etc. It's a pretty useful exercise, but it's not very, interactive to do here. It's just you'll be being quiet for a while, and then we correct your answers, which is useful. But it's more useful as homework. So please do this one for next week, in addition to these ones. If you can't manage them all, then you're out of the course. All homework needs to be done. No, it's fine, I guess.
I see a hand from Friedrich.
One hand.
Yeah.
Hi, Friedrich.
Sorry, could you maybe repeat what were the exercises that we had to do? The 2 and the next side, the next
yes.
page, right?
Yeah, exercise 2 and just the normal ones in under huiswerk opdracht les 2.
Okay.
On page 11.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. In general, you always have to do the things in the homework section at the end of the lesson.
Maybe to teach them also I saw it in the manual. We can teach them how to use the pickup line. Can I have your number?
Oh yeah.
In Dutch we say, mag ik je nummer? Of mag ik jouw nummer?
Yeah, you have to do that with some flair, of course.
Can you write
course.
that in the group chat if you don't mind?
Yeah, don't say it out of the blue to people.
Yeah. Hey.
But if you really fancy someone, you can try to ask it after a long conversation.
Just be sure to involve a lot of eyebrow movement.